Hi, everyone. All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. Hello. Okay, so we're going to wait for folks to get in. Hi. And we have a super special guest who's joining today as well. Hello, hello. Happy November. How was your Halloween? I hope you guys had a good Halloween. Hi, lovely.
Hey, are we live already?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Grab my book.
yes, we're just waiting for people to. We have about 13 people in so far. I was just asking how Halloween was. Tommy and I went to my cousin's house because we have a tradition of trick or treating with my little nephews.
Oh, the babies.
Yes, they are adorable, and it was we had to trick or treat like in the house because of social distancing. So
Yeah.
it was really nice. So thank you for joining.
Yeah, anytime. I was uh I was pruning my plants and reorganizing a shelf. So not too much.
And Tommy and I were watching Antebellum, um, the
Ooh,
movie.
how did it go?
Sorry,
How did it go?
it's still going. We'll talk. It's still going. So, hello everyone. I am here with the lovely Bree from the channel Locked Booktition. Bree is so many things. Bree is most recently the creatrix of the Blackoween. Did you call it the Blackoween song? I've just called it Blackoween. Uh,
Black Wing gone, but I've heard Black Ween, and that's fine too.
yes.
That's
And
totally fine.
so it was just a celebration of all things Black and horror and SFF throughout the entire month of October. Very in depth, celebration of Black lit. Um, I don't know how you pulled it off, but I am glad that you did. So
I
it's
don't
over.
either.
Yeah, and just an all around wonderful person. So I asked Bree if she would join for the live show because one of the things that I noticed from the first one was that I really got a lot out of just chatting in addition to reading. And there's a lot going on right now in Wildseed. So I thought, why not just have people to chat with in the spaces between the reading sprints. How did you enjoy the first one?
The first one that you did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
how are you enjoying your reading so far of
So
Wildseed?
I decided to just read with you. And then at the end of like the first, I think it's November 1st and then 6th, or is it 3rd? From chapter 1 to 6. Yeah. So I decided to read with you. And then if I didn't finish it, just continue reading into the end of those chapters that weekend. But so far, I'm really liking the story. I didn't think I was worried if it would be as trauma impact like Kindred was, because Kindred was my first Octavia E. Butler book that I've read. But I am liking the story. I'm definitely not liking Doro. Um, and I'm questioning what's her name? Anya Anyawu?
Anyanu,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm questioning her. I'm like, I'm in support of her, but I'm also questioning her motives. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think for me it feels like a really good time to read it. So I'm happy about that. So we've got Introverted Black Girl. Hello.
Hello.
And Michelle's back. I think Introverted Black Girl came as well last time. Maybe you were there too. Kate. coming, and Sarah. So everybody here, Gina, who's joined, joined us for the first one. And Memory Reframed, I think you might be new. So hello. Emily, Halloween was good. Jennifer, I don't know if you came to the first one, but hello. Gosh,
Okay.
hi. Yeah. Cave, yeah. I heard about that one. I want to see that one. Hey,
I realize I have that tired face.
oh, so do I. But it's
I have that tired face. I was like, I look like I rolled out of bed.
it's fine. All right, everyone. So, what we're gonna do? Hi, Gail. You're new. And I want just to deal with this. The whole point of a slow and luxurious read is for it not to be rushed and pressured. The idea is to sip the book and just catch up whenever you can. The only thing that I will say, and if you want to add anything to this, the only thing that I'll say is that um, because part of what we're doing here is reading together and also chatting, if you have sensitivities around spoilers, um, you know, that's just something to be aware of. So you might need to mute your mic at times and just be ready for that because we will be discussing at least the stuff that we read last time, so chapters 1 and 2. I myself have a couple of pages still to finish in chapter 2. So, but we the point is to kind of engage with each other as we move forward. So it's kind of going to have to be what it is going to be. So there might be some spoilers if you're further behind. So just be aware of that during the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long do you think for the first sprint? Like,
I like the slow thing you did, that 15 and then 25. I really like that. Hey,
okay.
Erica. I do need to go and get my tools because I bought the book to where I'll be reading and forgot the annotative stuff.
The tools, and then
Mhm.
I will put the timer on for 15 minutes. Okay. All right. I've got the timer, and then I'm going to share the screen. I think this is
All right.
okay. Y'all ready? Okay. So the first sprint is going to be for 15 minutes, and we will start now. So happy reading, everyone. See you in 15. so that was 15 minutes. And welcome to people who have joined. Ellie, Jeff, Catherine, Annika, Monica. These are the pattern of series twice. Good, good stuff. Cool. All right. So I'm at page 42. Where are you at, Bruce?
I'm at 36.
36. Okay. So what we did last, just in between each reading sequence, as we wrote, you might remember, we just had like a discussion or a question that we asked to everybody, and then we sort of talked about it. So, is there a question that you have that you'd like to throw out? I have one, but do you have one?
Based on where I'm at, I'm just wondering, what do people think about the change in Anyanwu and Doro's relationship? There's a change that's happening. I guess use one word to describe it, so there's no spoilers.
To describe the change in their relationship. I like that question a lot because it was pretty quick, wasn't it?
Very fast.
Like
I said very fast.
sorry? Yeah. And that's not that quick change for me seems inconsistent with Octavia E. Butler's writing in some of her other books. And even in Kindred, there's like, a lot of transition from so that is a pretty quick change. And I want to believe that Anyanwu has a master plan that will become revealed because I think that's the only explanation that for me will satisfy me around the change. What do you think?
I feel, like I said earlier, I think she has some motives that we don't know yet. I'm just wondering if she feels that it's easier to succumb to her womanly needs or submit to him and have him thinking a certain way about her so that she can go on by her business or escape. But I don't know.
Oh, audio is choppy. I'm hearing the feedback from everyone. I don't know why it would be.
Okay, please let us know if my audio remains to be choppy.
It's good now.
Hey, Brittany. Let's see what other people have said. So, Josh doesn't like it, but you think it works fine with the story. Acceptance of each other. I wondered, do they accept each other? I feel like Anyanwu is looking at Doro with like cut eye, and I feel like Doro is looking at Anyanwu with condescension.
Yeah, there was a part.
Like I wonder if they are appreciating each other or that they're accepting each other. And what that actually means.
Yeah. There was a part where Anyanwu compared him.
Anyanwu is feigning obedience because she thinks he can track her easily if she runs. Yeah, I was wondering about, just off that question that you had, Bree, the power relationship, the power dynamic between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I definitely feel the buildup. I can't hear you, Bree.
Oh, shoot, you can't?
Are you on mute?
No. You can't hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. I was like, I don't know what happened. Um, I I felt that I didn't think that they were respectful of each other, or maybe it was just too fast for me to switch when she compared him to her husband, her first husband.
Mm-hmm.
Like, y'all have that type of relationship already?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was very suspicious of it.
Yeah, I do think that they're sizing each other up and that they're thinking of how they can use each other. I feel like the tension is
Thick.
just so thick. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think this is the most I've annotated a book with like this much stuff. It's usually
Mhm.
like one or two colors, but there's just so much stuff I need to remember later.
Yeah, cool. This might it's probably going to be a question for another point, but because I don't think that I'm ready really to answer it. But one of the things that comes up for me a lot is gender, and because Anyanwu is a shapeshifter, and
Yeah.
one of the things that we learn really early on is that she can change um, from a cisgender man to a cisgender woman, and um, that has significance. So I'm wondering about like what this is going to have to say from a gender perspective, from the like a black man and a black woman. Um, I expect that there will be no non-binary characterization in the Patternist series. I believe that Octavia Butler commented on that, like at some point in another forum. So I'm curious about what we're going to learn about gender, because one of the more recent blurbs about Wildseed has been framing it in terms of gender dynamics and gender politics. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I even the cover, the book, I just realized.
yeah,
Yeah.
it certainly makes it seem as though she's the more powerful one based
Yeah.
on the cover.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
thinking of when she changed from a cisgender woman into a cisgender man as far as this, because that looks like a male figure. Or is that Doro? I don't know. I don't have these
Yeah.
answers.
Yeah, I think the Soke and Yanu's play with gender is interesting. Yeah, it definitely is. There's a scene very early on, the first lovemaking scene, where Dora says, like, can you please like change yourself into a woman so we can make
I
love?
was
So
thinking that, yeah, when you said that.
like a real commitment to um like cisgender identities and heterosexuality, right? Given that he said at the same time, he also says that even though she is in the form of a male, he still engages her and sees her as a woman. So like Doro has the ability to distinguish gender from sex, even though it's not in the way we might talk about it in 2020. But from his perspective, it's like your essence is female. No matter what you're doing physically, your essence is female.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when you're a snake and when you're a leopard, your essence is human, your essence is female. And
Yeah.
I think that's problematic. Um, Speaking from my cisgender perspective, but I do think it's a theme that I want to sort of pull through as we continue to read it.
I wonder how true he will keep to that when anger arrives.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like if she shapeshifted into a cisgender male and he was angry, I wonder if he would feel like he has competition of some sort. Like, I don't know. I just always wonder how people will act when anger is introduced.
Yeah. There's a question around, I agree with that as well because Doro is so violent. Someone was asking for the definition for cisgender. So it's CIS.
Oh, Jason.
Yeah, Jason provided one, so thank you for that. I was just looking to see if there was I was wondering if I could find a definition online that was written by trans folks, because I think that's really important as well. But the idea is that the sex that you're assigned as at birth is yours, is your sex, quote unquote. And so somebody who maintains the sex designation that was assigned at birth that matches their gender, and I'm using quotes because those are contested ideas, that would be a cisgender individual. So I identify as cisgender. At my birth, I was identified as female. And I still identify as female, and also my gender is woman. That's considered to be matching, and therefore I identify as cis, right? So that's what I'm talking about. But I think that these terms are always like they're always contested, right? Because there's a bunch of assumptions in them. Okay, so let's do our next sprint. Okay. All right, so we shall get started now. Oops. Just kidding. We're among friends here. Okay, there we go.
turned it on. Yeah, it's on. So try printing. See what happens.
Alrighty. I'm on 46. How far did you get?
I'm on 41, and
It's moving slow.
I've been reading this one sentence over and over again because I can't believe what I just read.
Which sentence is that?
It's the first sentence. It's the first sentence of chapter 3. Either that has been said already, or I completely missed it, but I didn't know the last part of that sentence. I had to highlight it.
Yeah. Where I'm at, I'm on 46. And this idea about Doro, like I think it shared fairly early on that Doro has the ability to take on bodies. That idea to me is very interesting.
Like his children, though, that's what I can't get past.
Yeah. So, in the first chapter, so they talk about seed villages, right? So I guess my question to everybody reading is, what is your understanding of what a seed village is? Because like the book is called Wildseed. Doro refers to Anyanwu as a wild seed. And then he has these seed villages, and he also is obsessed with like breeding, like just finding people for the purpose of like getting their best qualities and creating more, right? So I'm curious as to what people think like this whole idea of a seed is in this context, and how does his ability to wear these bodies and to like he talks, and I think, was it Christine? Someone made a comment earlier about, Anika or Annika. I think he views her as a female for breeding purposes. So like he has one sort of mode or goal to breed. So yeah, I'm moved by, not in a good way, but I'm moved by his desire to like just like get more people and replicate in some way. And I'm moved by his lack of care for human life.
Yeah, definitely. It's very vampire-esque.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what others have to say. Okay, you just started chapter 3. So Bree, you and introverted Black girl are around the same point. Just kidding. Chapter 2. Seed villages are a gene pool of DNA and talents Dora wants to breed. Wildseed is DNA he found wild and wants to incorporate into his people. Christina, is that your interpretation? Is that your answer to the question, what do you think a seed village is? Cabe, you see it like a meta-human farm. Y'all are going to be in for a ride. Okay.
Monica, you've already read it?
Yeah, some people are reading it for the third time. Like I've read it before, but I have forgotten what it's about. So
me on the daily.
Okay, so that was your interpretation. Okay. All right. Seeds. His inbreeding has caused the seed village he is looking for to turn violent. Oh, interesting. Very, very interesting.
I feel that
biblical.
I feel like the seed village is just places where he gathered these special humans or beings so that they can breathe with each other and also with him and that he can just use them as a source of bodies he go into, just like his own personal thing, so that he lasts longer or whatever. I don't know. I just think he's going to go into everybody.
Literally. I'd like to hear more about this idea that the seed villages are a little biblical. And remember, like, part of the OEB slow read is to see how the stories talk to each other. So I will note that there are, she's using the word kindred a lot, and kin in this story.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's interesting. And then I'm also aware, I'm thinking about the fact that Lauren Olamina's religion in the parable of the talents and the parable of the sower is called earth seed. So it seems like this concept of seeds spans more than one series, and that the notion of kindred, right, seems to be a preoccupation in the first book, and also it's here too. There's a scene in chapter 3 that I'm just a few pages further along. I'm on 46, but it starts earlier than that. Where there's a question about like who belongs to you. Like Anyanwu, she has it seems to me she has an emotional relationship with her villagers and her relatives. Like they are her relatives, they are her people.
Mm-hmm.
She is of them. But Doro is like, they are mine. Like they obey me, they need to follow me, and so on. So it's interesting to see the differences in how they perceive their people, their kindred.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Oops, we're behind. I'm behind. Okay, so I think I read where he also breeds bodies to take over when and if he needs to. Yeah, that's what you were saying, Bree.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to put it into words. Gotcha. Does he see himself as God making the perfect creature? So, fun fact, Octavia E. Butler she studied religions, and she studied Christianity. And so biblical themes come up in her work. So being made in one's own image is a concept that certainly comes up in this work. Sounds good. Josh, I'd be interested in hearing more about your thoughts. I took the violence being a byproduct of his own love of violence. Does he? I wonder if he. Well, he does kill, but I wonder, does he love violence, or does he just see violence as
an annoyance,
a method for getting what he needs, like a necessary thing that he has to do? He seems indifferent toward violence, I feel.
Mm-hmm. I think he's more annoyed by it than, that he has to do it.
Okay.
Me and my air quotes.
Dora also promised Anyanwu's children with his people won't die because her husbands were weak, but his people are strong. Yeah. He also bribes her and says, like, if you come with me, I will make stronger kids. Like, that's for you. Right?
And I won't kill your current kids.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I hope to see that too.
Yeah. Oh, right. His quickness to violence as a solution to things. Yeah. You already read it. Yeah, you need to hold that down, Josh.
Pull it back. When did you read it?
Well, it was published in 1980.
Oh. A good 10 years before I was born.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well,
yeah, it's nice to come back to her work for sure. And I understand that I remember the series getting very strange further on. So like, woo,
yeah.
weird. Okay, are we ready for our next sprint? How long do you want to do this time?
We did 2 15s.
Yeah, and then we're 1 hour in, so we have 1 hour left, or maybe 40 minutes left, and then maybe 20 minutes of conversation before we end.
Can we do a longer one?
Yeah. Do you want to do 30 minutes?
I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to be like, and that's 30.
Why not? Let's do 30. Live our
Yeah.
best lives. Hold on one
Yeah.
second. 30-minute timer.
I'm really loving the slow part. I'm taking it very intentional.
It's okay.
I'm
I
taking it
feel like
very literal.
we read so much, like content creators like yourself and myself. We read so much. It's actually nice to just be like, oh, I just did 4 pages. Let me pause.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that can just come up that
Yeah.
that for me I would miss otherwise.
Yeah.
If I was trying to get 5 books done in a week, I wouldn't have been able to just spend this time. So I appreciate it as well.
I've also been trying to annotate every book for the slow reads and
Yeah.
from sci-fi, sister sci-fi. So I'll buy it at the end, the next book, and then just like annotate them. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah, we're supposed to. Well, we're supposed to. Like I had 3 reads for 3 days for chapters 1 to 6. So that was sort of the idea. So yeah, the idea was we would read chapters 3 and 4 today. The idea, but so yes, that's the goal. But it's a soft and luxurious read.
Yeah, like my goal is just to finish chapter 3.
There we go. There we go. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. We're going to do a 30-minute read now. So get cozy, grab your thing. All right. We're starting now. Happy reading. right. So that's 30 minutes. All right, let's maybe start by getting some comments. What page are you on, or where are you at so far? I got to page 56. You're on mute.
I'm having a whole conversation with myself.
You were.
I said I'm on page 54.
Oh, you're on 54? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm on 56. I just started chapter 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe let's just do the one word. Maybe a word to describe how you feel about the pace. So a word to describe how you feel about the pace of the story right now. My word would be comfortable. For me, the pace is slowing down, and I feel comfortable with that. What about you, Bree?
I don't know if I would have a word. I mean, similar to you, I feel like it was very fast and now it's slowed. Like I'm getting more details in the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jennifer and you are on the same page.
Mm-hmm. What perspective do you prefer? We have Doro and Anyanwu right now. I think we only have 2 perspectives.
Yeah, I prefer Anyanwu.
Mm-hmm.
Doro's too violent. I'd rather he not talk, but you need it.
Yeah.
Hair sticking up, you know that.
I like how I mean, like, right? I appreciate the way that the transatlantic slave trade is not the main story here, but it's happening in the background. And I appreciate the way that Octavia E. Butler has given us like laid a greater story over it, so
Yeah.
that it recedes into the background. So it's something that's happening while something else more powerful is also happening. So I asked,
I will say I don't think I've ever annotated a book as much as I've done this one.
Yeah. More highlights than there are plain areas.
Every page
there's
got
a lot
something
going on here for me too. So let's see. I asked for some words to describe the pace necessary. You're having to go back to reread. Steady. Yeah, it's definitely feeling steady now. In terms of perspectives, you prefer Anyanwu's, but Doro is an interesting character despite how violent he is. There's an interesting question about Doro's violence, because it seems like Doro is presented as a violent character, but there have been many violent characters, and perhaps arguably Anyanwu is violent as well. And so I wonder how different Doro's violence is, right? Like Doro's, You know how when we have like vampire stories, how the vampires, because they are immortal or near immortal, they just have a longer vision, right? So like one life doesn't mean as much to them.
Yeah.
So for them, killing a human might be the same as like swatting a fly, just because of their long range and how broadly they exist, how long they will exist for. So if you really like, if you bring Doro back, like if you look at what Doro is doing and how willingly he will take life, and you compare it to the transatlantic slave trade, for example, like the slavers and so on, how does that? I'm just curious about like how that would compare. Is it that Doro has a different perspective, and that he's just as violent as everyone else, or is there something unique about his character that makes him more violent? So curious about that. I don't like him as a character, but I'm curious about. I'm interrogating myself as to why I don't like him as a character.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's because I'm a therapist. I kept thinking of dialectical behavior therapy and how when you're working with a person on DBT, you want to try to get them to make decisions that is focused on the wise mind and not just using the emotional or the logical parts of their mind. Because some people operate primarily in the logical realm, some people operate primarily in the emotional realm. And what you want to try to do is get them in that sweet middle so that they are using their wise mind, which are both halves, emotional and logical, to make decisions. And I kept thinking that Anyanwu was like that emotional mind, and then Doro was the logical mind, because Doro, to him, it makes sense. He's like doing logical things that will get him his end results, which is having more seeds. But for Anyanwu, it's a more emotional thing. You know, she screamed when she saw her grandson, and, you know, different things. Like, she's very attached to her people and their well-being. So I'm trying to figure out how to get to that sweet spot, but I don't know what that is right now. So, yeah.
Let's see what others are saying. Doro's written to be unlikable and misunderstood, which makes you want to like him. I hear that, Gabe. I really dislike Doro, but it shows how well written he was by Octavia Butler. Pace is comfortable for you as well. Don't think he's inherently violent. It's a means to an end. He's just cold. Like,
he's
if you've
also
always
done this for millennia, so
Sorry?
he's also done this for over like a couple millennia, right? For
Yeah.
a long time.
Like, if you've always been alive, wouldn't you be over it too? Yeah. The entire discussion of Daily with Doro, or Dali, about cannibalism versus the entirety of the slave trade is just crazy. Like, Africans who are cannibals justify enslaving them and teaching them Christianity. Like, Africans who are cannibals justify enslaving them. I think the I definitely have to read that exchange over again, because
I highlighted it.
There's so much there. I don't even think I can do it justice. I just read Gilda Stories and had a similar comparison to Wildseed. Yeah, Gilda. Have you read the Gilda Stories?
No, I haven't.
I think you'd like it.
Should I write that down?
There's a lot of Black queer vampire-ness.
Ooh.
Black lesbian vampire-ness.
Okay.
It's good. Good reading.
Gilda Stories.
Yeah, definitely. Renitra said you have an interesting perspective, Bree. Okay, so we have 15 more minutes. Do you want to do like a quick 10 minute sprint and then like a 5-minute wrap up and we end?
I can do that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that.
I was definitely trying to finish that page. So.
Just get 10 more minutes in. Okay. All right. And so this is our last sprint, everyone. And are we seeing this? I hope so. Okay. So, sweet little sprint. So that was 10 minutes. Okay. Bree, just wanted to start with you. How are you feeling about what you just read?
He's really concerned with people obeying him. Everyone must obey him. If I see the word obey again, I just might throw the book in the corner out of anger, not because I don't like the book.
Get ready. Get your corners ready. Get a book cover.
Yeah, I got to page 61 though.
Okay, I'm on 62.
Yeah.
So we're getting into rhythm with each other. Let's see what others have to say. Lots of rereading.
Yeah, I've reread several parts.
Yeah. Can we discuss the similar themes of consent, power, and immortality with her other book, Fledgling? Josh, I'm going to ask you to stick a pin in that. And when we get to Fledgling, we should definitely talk about that.
Fledgling towards the end, right?
Yeah. I feel like Fledgling was her last novel, I want to say. I think it was her last novel. But I think, like, you know, she really played around with immortality, strength, healing power. Like, there's a lot of stuff around healing that's in this book and others as well. I'm reminded that in her Lilith's Brood, there's a lot of like long life, rapid healing, like superhuman strength, right? So, and consent. In fact, we're more likely to talk about consent, power, and immortality in the Xenogenesis trilogy before we get to, trilogy, I think, or series, Lilith's Brood, before we get to Fledgling.
Have you read all of her novels already?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I got started early. Doro connects to power through fatherhood, through his seed. When Anyanwu looks back, she's connected through relation in a different way. Is her power in her ability to choose how she is known?
I think it's part of it.
I think I wonder about. I don't see Doro as a father. I see him as a progenitor.
Whoa.
But not necessarily as a father. Like, he seems more like a CEO of a international like corporation of his seed.
Yeah.
Like, it's also kind of like biologically gross.
Yes, the way he treated Woodley.
Yeah.
But Woodley seems awful too, I must say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to go back a couple pages.
In that question, is her power in her ability to choose how she's known? I think it's a good question. The way that she reveals herself and how she reveals herself is very interesting. I think that Doro does the same thing in that he chooses. He also, in addition to wanting people to obey him, he also seems to ask, do you know who I am? Do you know what I am?
And he takes pleasure in whatever they decide that he is.
Yeah. And he doesn't really clarify. He just says, I'm that and so much more. So obey me.
Yeah.
And I feel like, that's one of the distinguishing features between Doro and Anyanwu in that way. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I will say I'm a bit confused now. I don't know Anyanwu's truest form. I'm confused.
Yeah, fair. He's a donor more than any kind of paternal figure.
Not the donor.
contributing his seed a lot. Don't you? Okay.
Oh, I just really feel like, yeah, my hypothesis in my head might come true.
Okay. So we are at the hour, at the 2-hour mark. So I want to thank the lovely Bree of Lock Booktition for like slow reading, luxuriating with me, and OEB and 25 of y'all. I hope that you enjoyed this. So everybody, your homework is between now and November 6th to complete chapter 4 so that we can finish book 1, which is Covenant, in our next session. So we'll be finishing hopefully chapters 5 and chapter 6, or as much as we can, on November 6th. Also, if you have an interest in being part of the discussion like Bree was today, you can send an email to me at onyxpages.booktube@gmail.com, and I will follow up with folks who are interested in being a part of like the on-screen discussion. Bree,
Yeah.
I would love to have you back as many times as you want.
Just text me. Hopefully you'll reply, because WhatsApp is rough for me.
Cool. All right, everyone.
Okay.
Just to let you know, in half an hour, we've got the live show for the Black SFF-a-thon.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's going to be over on Thistle and Verse, Chloe's channel. So if you would like to hear us talk about the Jumbies by Tracy Baptiste, please do that. Of course, get your tickets for the OEB Slow Read for the November 29th discussion of Wildseed. And yeah, we will see you later. So have a great rest of your Sunday and a great strong start to November. Okay.
See you later.
Yeah. Bye, Bree.
Bye.